All right. Thank you for listening to WZNC LP Bethlehem, North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, and streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. You're tuned in to North of Normal. I'm your host, Amanda McKeen. My mission is to create an unfiltered, human-centered space where local leaders, business owners, and changemakers share their stories, perspectives, and passions, not to promote, but to connect. North of Normal celebrates what makes our North Country community rich, real, and worth rooting into. We're live every Tuesday from 10 to noon here at NCCR, which is now on Main Street in Littleton. And today I have a returning guest, Bernd Weber. Bernd, thanks so much for being here again.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, if you can just pull your mic in a little bit closer so we make sure everybody hears. All right, so some of you have already seen and are aware of what happened in the fall. I feel like it's appropriate to kind of, set the tone here.
You erased all evidence of ever having met me. It's understandable. A lot of people have done that over the years. Don't worry. You're not the first. Probably won't be the last.
Yeah. Well, Bernd, I love your sense of humor, and I'm so glad that you gave me a second chance. For those of you who don't know, Bernd was here as a guest on the show back in, October maybe.
Yeah, I don't actually remember. It was before snow.
You put it out of your mind clearly, but we had this epic conversation on air, and some people had the pleasure of hearing it live, but there were so many people who were waiting to hear it recorded because, for whatever reason they couldn't listen at the time, or they were halfway around the world. And so you had a lot of people that were really anticipating this recording. And at the end of our conversation, I pulled out the flash drive without hitting the right button first.
Boy, that's sad story.
Classic mistake for a rookie.
Mistake.
Yes. So I went home. I didn't even realize I had done it. I went home. I'm so excited to get this uploaded for everybody, just feeling like this is what they're waiting for.
Yeah.
And I opened the file, and it's zero kilobytes of data. And I'm like, what? And I looked again, and I called the radio station, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have nothing. So I had to make an announcement on social media. That was probably one of the hardest things I've had to post ever of, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't have this for you guys. And I was expecting so much anger and upset, comments, frustration. And I think a couple people were definitely disappointed, but everyone was so kind about it. And you just laughed.
Well, they probably said, we've heard it all before.
Maybe. But you laughed it off. And I know my first instinct was Bernd, come back in the studio this week. Let's get this fixed. And you're just like, we'll get there.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a scheduling issue at that time.
You were headed out somewhere, but
right. Yeah.
But here we are.
Here we are
for round 2.
Let's do it again.
Let's hold me accountable. Make sure I hit that button correctly.
Yeah,
okay?
If I only knew which button that was.
Just make sure I hit one. It doesn't matter.
Any button.
But thank you for being patient, and for our listeners, for the grace that you've given me for making mistakes.
I really appreciate that. That's as bad as ever gets. Boy, the world will be okay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, not a worry.
Good. So, Bernd, there are some things that I definitely want to cover again that we talked about already, but my memory's pretty good.
Good.
Yours isn't.
Between the two of us.
Yes. So one of the biggest things that I like to share on air is first how I met my guest. And I don't remember the specific moment where we met, but I'm pretty sure it was out on the trail.
I would 100% agree. I'm sure it was at Parker Mountain.
Parker, yeah.
Yeah. And one of us was going uphill and one of us was going downhill. It's most likely what happened.
Yeah, I think you had your dogs with you.
Yeah, I was never on a trail without a dog or two. So, yeah, absolutely. And we were either riding or snowshoeing or just plain old walking.
Yeah.
I don't remember which. But
yeah. And I don't know if you knew who I was. I think I probably knew who you were.
Probably not. I think, and then repeatedly we would run into one another, because I think our schedules were such that we were about the same times out there. So,
yeah, in the afternoons.
It is quite a few people that, it's funny because there are folks that I see out on the trails multiple times, but whom I have no idea who they really are.
Yeah.
Because, it's a few seconds. You say,
right.
Hi, how's it going? Enjoy your ride, or have fun. And you move on.
Yeah.
And, it's not always that you actually get to sit around and
the
chit-chat
magic
with it.
spark.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Don't tell my wife. But, no, yeah, I don't know. Dad would definitely be my guest, though, as well. And then probably at like the Poker Run or one of those things, one of the Parker Mountain activities where groups of people were getting together.
Yeah, which I kind of avoided initially. So
yeah, and trail work
maybe.
So that was another thing.
But I think really the biggest thing was that I followed you on Strava, which is an app that athletes around here use to record their activities. And even those of us who are not athletes, we use it as well. Oh, come on, Bernd, like you're an athlete.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
But yeah, Strava, if it doesn't, if it isn't on Strava, it didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Even snow blowing, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I snowblowed this morning. Halfway through, I forgot to had started Strava. So half of my...
I love that you do that.
Anything to get that activity up.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the impressions I had of you initially, was that you really valued being outside and you valued being physically active.
I do, thanks. But... and I think most of us that live up here, especially those of us who moved here, that's part of the reason we came.
Yeah.
People come because they want to hike, they bike, they like to hunt, they fish. Skiing, obviously, is a big thing. So, and yeah, I'm lucky to be healthy, knock wood, to be able to do that. And of course, having had labs for the last 15 years or more, they kind of forced the issue, and and I like it. It's great. It's it's a great time, and we're really, really lucky to have Parker Mountain right here. We have Bethlehem trails now that are great, Franconia, Easton. So we're surrounded by it. So if you don't take advantage of it, I'm sorry for you, because it's like there's a lot of people that hate winter.
Yes.
And I have a date with my snowshoes later.
You do?
Got to pound those trails down.
I know. Are you going to do Gardeners? I know, it's a big one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I'll tackle some of it. I'm selfish. I usually do the trails that I do, so make it easier for the groomers. So I tend to stay at the lower and middle part of the trails.
I saw they need help with Gardeners, though. They don't need help with those.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Right.
Yeah, for those 3 people that ride Gardeners on a regular basis.
Oh, it's so fun,
I know,
though.
it's so smooth right now.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, it was.
If it warms up, I may consider snowshoeing out there today, just because it's...
Well, don't worry, you'll get warm halfway up there.
That's true. It is a workout.
Yeah.
Especially on snowshoes.
Even last night, I snowshoed just Pine Hill, and there's a lot of snow.
Oh, man. So, I got a nice little clip of someone snowshoeing right here in town yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Because they hadn't cleaned the sidewalks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, see, it's so easy. It's so easy to get exercise here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you need to get out there and enjoy it. Otherwise, winter I think lasts a lot longer. I can't believe it's February 1st this weekend.
I know.
It's like wow, January's over with.
Yeah. So, it still goes by fast.
Yeah. There's no black flies out there.
It's true. I love that. And the sun is shining, so even though it's
today, yeah.
well, I think it's like 1 degree right now. The sun is out.
There you go.
So there.
It's balmy.
Yeah. No. So, Bernd, I want to talk about, let's see. I love that you are from another country, and I would feel like it'd be a tragedy if we didn't talk about that today.
Okay. Some people think I'm from another planet, but okay. Yeah. Yes, I was born in Germany.
Yeah.
I came to the United States in 1972. way before you were born. Yes, I know.
So how old were you in 1972?
Yes, I was not 13.
You weren't 13.
I was 14 at the time.
14.
Yes, 14 and a half, really.
Oh, yeah, and a half.
Well, back then you counted that. Nowadays, not so much.
No. Now when you're older.
Exactly. Except for when you're like close to retirement age, then.
Yeah.
But so I was 14 when I came, and I was born and raised in Cologne, or Köln is how the Germans would say it, and initially I lived in upstate New York for the summer. My father was doing a project, and then we moved to Florida. I was there for a year and a half. Then I moved to Connecticut, and I was there a year and a half, where I graduated from high school, and I moved back to Florida. Back then I didn't think I liked winter. And lived in Florida for the next 8 years or so, and then I went to dental school in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. And that's when I found that I kind of liked winter. And I married a native Floridian girl who at the time liked winter as well. We'd gotten into skiing, and we had our first son before I had graduated. And so we decided to settle in New England. And, ever since we've been in the Littleton area. So,
wow, you just recapped that in such a condensed way.
Yeah, see, we wasted a whole hour before. Yeah,
we yeah, we spent almost the whole time last time talking about your experiences in that time frame.
Yeah, for all you oldest people, this was the Reader's Digest abridged version.
Yes.
So back in the day when we used to get those in the mail.
Yeah.
So, but so we've lived in Littleton. This year is. What is this? 38 years?
38? Yeah, That's 19, almost...
Yeah, almost as long as you've been alive?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that. She doesn't look that young.
No,
1988. So, we're coming up on, 38 years.
Wow. One of your best friends, Roy Brewster, said that if you give me a hard time, it means that we're good friends.
Yeah,
so I'm taking this as a compliment.
There you go. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I mean, who would do that to someone that they didn't like, right? I mean,
it would be pretty cruel.
Yeah, well,
right?
Yeah, that would be. It would be true. Yeah. So.
So I think one of the things I loved about our conversation the first time around was that I identified with a lot of the experiences you had when you moved here when you were 14. You didn't speak English.
No, not really.
So you had shared a little bit about what that was like for you to try and figure out the language while you were figuring out the rest of the cultural things.
Yeah, it back then, today, if you come from another country and you go into our school system, they usually have the ESL, English for Second Languages. Those things didn't exist at the time, or at least they weren't offered when my stepmother went and registered me in high school. They stuck me in a regular 10th grade, and I had world history, and I had American literature and biology. I really didn't have a clue what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think I told you that. And they send a progress note home saying, Bernd isn't doing his homework, and Bernd didn't know he had homework. But my stepmother always wondered why I never brought my books home, because they gave me a locker. I thought that was a good place to keep them. So,
yeah.
That was a different thing. I wasn't used to that in Germany. We didn't have that kind of a thing. So
yeah.
And then just. Teenagers are teenagers, and they made a lot of fun of me back then too, because of the accent and the language barriers and whatnot. It probably had nothing to do with that. I was a goofy-looking kid, but
were you goofy-looking?
Well,
I wouldn't know.
Look at how much more goofy can a person look than I look now, right? But
Bernd.
Again, it was a different time.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, I was quite fortunate, because if I was just wandering around, I just looked like all the other goofy kids.
That is a good point.
When I talk about being an immigrant, and especially, I know we don't talk politics in these times, is that I look like everybody else. I wasn't, until I opened my mouth, they had no clue that
Right.
that I wasn't a local kid.
Right.
And that kind of protects you in a way.
It does.
You know, so you kind of like get included in things
Yeah.
easier. And you know, even though kids were making fun of me, they were great because they also taught me all the stuff that you need to know at that stage of the
Through making fun of you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's part of my personality. So, you know, I somehow, if I get into a group and there's a comedian up there, he automatically picks me as the person to pick on, you know, and I think they just know that, well, he looks like somebody that you got to pick on. You know, I was on a cruise with a bunch of friends, and I don't know whether any of them are listening, and we were sitting around this big table, and the guy comes up and he picks me to make fun of, you know, and,
Wow.
and makes it so. It's just, it always happens that way. That's okay. I can take it.
I understand that, actually. My first country I moved to from Maine was Canada. And it may not sound like a big deal, but I was nicknamed the Yank. And I was seen as a foreign person.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of mocking and making fun of, and it's just how it worked then, you know?
Yeah.
But I looked like everyone else, so that was helpful.
Right, exactly. It does, you know, at least you don't feel like you're sticking out,
Yeah.
you know, when you're in a group.
What countries have you been to where you've looked different from everyone?
Boy, I honestly not sure I have been anywhere where, you know, the Caucasian wasn't I mean, I pretty much have stuck around Western Europe. I have not gone to Asia or South America, or, you know, I mean, I guess Mexico is probably, you know, the one place that'd be about the closest, you know. But yeah, for the most part, I've not had that experience yet.
Interesting.
Yeah, never thought of that. Till you said
Yeah,
that.
I didn't either.
And there's no thought process behind that. It's just that the opportunity hasn't come up yet.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that, you know, we do have a rule of not talking politics on here, but I think we can still talk about being a foreigner in a different country versus wherever your home country is. That's not political, right?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think so
No,
either.
yeah.
So I'm curious, you know, I was reflecting on how I'm feeling lately with everything going on and being in my own home country and feeling unsafe. And I thought about you being on my show this week and wondering, like, would there ever be something that would happen here that would make you say, I need to go back to Germany?
Oof. You know, I mean, hasn't it happened already multiple times?
Yeah.
You know, I bleed red, white, and blue now.
Do you?
Yeah, It's I've lived in this country for, you know, 54 years coming up.
Yeah.
You know, the vast majority of my life.
Yeah.
When I go to Germany, I'm called Yankee. So
You
know,
are?
Oh, absolutely. I speak German with an American accent.
That's hilarious.
But yes, you know, the thought certainly had crossed my mind. It is, and it's, I mean, it wouldn't happen, but it's not as easy either. But, you know, I have thought about when and the time comes when I may not work, or but even while I'm working, spending an extended time in Europe, because, again, I left when I was 14. People go, oh, yeah, where have you been? And I'm like, oh, no, you know, I grew up in the inner city. I would have been like a fresh air kid, basically, you know. So I think that we did not travel through Europe. You know, I didn't see a whole lot other than my neighborhoods and places that and family was. But so now when I get the opportunity to go back, you know, we try to go see other places that, you know, people go, oh, have you been to such and such place? Nope, never been there. Nope. Oh, and that I've been. And again, a lot of times people, when they talk about Germany and visiting Germany, they visit Bavaria, you know, Munich, southern Germany, and which is gorgeous. You know, it's beautiful, and I'm from the northern part of the country, and that's the industrial area. We have beautiful cities. I mean, there's beautiful places, but the majority of things, and people talk about Germany, they always talk about southern Germany usually.
Interesting.
Is where they do most of their traveling.
Is that where Nuremberg is?
Yeah, Nuremberg. Okay. Yeah, it's in the state of Bavaria. And I actually have family that lives in there who I haven't seen in 60 years probably.
Whoa.
So cousins and whatnot.
Wow.
So, but anyway, there have been times when I thought about it, but because I'm a naturalized United States citizen, for me, it's actually more difficult now to get a German passport than it would be for my kids.
Oh, interesting.
Because I gave it up. Back then, you could not have dual citizenship, although our government is making it such that they're trying to do away with that anyway. But when I naturalized back in 81, 82, you had to give up. You could not be a dual citizen.
Interesting.
A lot of people go, why didn't you keep your German citizenship? Yeah, you weren't allowed to. That was not on the table at that time. So
when you went through that process, what was the motive for it?
So, I'd lived here just about 10 years as a, I think the status was resident alien. It's kind of a thing, but, having a green card.
Yeah.
And what that meant, every January you had to fill out this postcard and send it in just to tell them that you were still around and where you lived. The part of it was, people at that time, right or wrong, told me, well, if you want to go to grad school, you probably need to be an American citizen because you as a foreigner, you're probably not going to get in. That may not have been true, but I kind of took it to heart and decided, go ahead. And I'm the only one. I had an older brother who passed away a couple of years back, but he never became an American citizen. He stayed in the U.S. the entire time. So my father never did during his lifetime either. So I was the only one that did that.
Did you get any judgment or pushback from your family?
No, not at all. They were, not at all. I think, as a matter of fact, my dad probably was quite proud of the fact, because he really adopted, he was very much, when we came, it was like, we don't speak German outside the house. It was acclimate, become American. So I think that's why a lot of people are like, wow, you're German? I didn't know that. Because I have kind of a weird accent.
It is a little bit weird.
So, and it's because I lived in so many different places. I've been, are you people ask me whether I'm Canadian, so.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
I think the only reason I found out you were German was because I wasn't pronouncing your first name right.
Well, not many people do.
What do they usually say?
Oh, God. What don't they say? I pretty much answer to most everything. The one name, and I'm sorry for anyone that's named that. I just don't care for Bernie. Even though, it's just not, I don't know. Weekend with Bernie was great. But anyway, so my name pronounced is Bound. Yeah.
Bound
Weber, and people just can't say that.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, well, nobody can pronounce that, so I became Bernd Weber in 1972. It's all spelled the same, but I actually have an 8-year-old grandson who can't understand why people always want to put 2 B's in Weber. He goes, "What is wrong with people? Why don't they know there's only 1 B?" He's kind of cute. So,
yeah, that is cute.
So I do like it when I go to Germany, and it was funny you just said that because we were there last year, and I went to make a reservation at the restaurant, and we were standing there, and the young lady goes, "Okay, what's your name?" And I'm going, "Bernd Weber." And it was never like, "Oh, what is it?" And it was like, she just wrote it down. And I walked away, and I told my son, I said, did you realize what just happened? And he goes, "I don't know what you're talking about, Dad." And I'm going, I said my name, she wrote it down, and there was no question about
normal.
it. Yeah, it was just a normal name.
Yes.
Because everybody goes, "Oh, it's a cool name. I never heard that before." Yeah, it's a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
That's
great.
So it's kind of funny.
But. Yeah, Shanna Shanna. Mm-hmm. I get her name wrong too.
Yeah.
She had corrected me at one point, and I was so glad she did. Because I was like calling you Bernard.
Oh, yeah. Well, so
I was
Bernard,
just
people always want to say that's Bernard. And I'm like, oh, no. It's not a short form of Bernard. It's not, no. So, that's all there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm afraid not.
Bound. Sounds like bound.
For Americans, that seems to be, I don't know why, but, and it's probably just linguistically, you have to train yourself to, just like in Spanish, being able to roll your R's and whatnot. And we just can't make that sound. People just aren't able to. The same
doesn't compute.
No, I guess not. From the brain to the vocal cords, it just doesn't happen.
Well, maybe we've got listeners on here that are practicing, so the next time they see you.
Yeah, I can't wait till I go back to work tomorrow.
Oh, let's talk about your work real quick.
Okay, all right.
You are a dentist.
Do.
Yeah. I have to tell you that I flossed this morning because I knew I was going to see you.
Well, I always tell my patients, bad things happen to good people when they floss,
Oh.
Because inevitably, everybody comes in, it's like, well, my filling came out, my test, and I was flossing. Mm-hmm. It's always flossing's fault.
Interesting.
But, I'm happy for you. Your dentist and your hygienist will be very grateful to hear you say that. So, good for you. Yes, floss once a day, and you'll be good.
Well, when I had coffee with your buddy, Roy, he's a retired dentist.
Yes.
And he's got beautiful teeth, and he's 80.
Yeah. Hey, now don't be telling that.
Sorry, Roy.
Yeah.
But he's going to be on in a couple weeks. I'm sure he'll tell everybody.
I'm sure he's snowboarding right now.
Probably.
But his saying was, "You only floss the ones you want to keep."
Interesting. He didn't use that with me.
So that's he used that with his patients. I'm not breaking any HIPAA laws right now, I don't think.
No.
That was his thing. When people go, I don't want to floss, he goes, well, only floss the ones you want to keep.
Oh my goodness. So. He did tell me, we weren't even talking about teeth, but he told me 40% of the surface in your mouth you can only get through flossing. You can't reach with a toothbrush. And I was like, 40%? That's a lot. That's almost half. Is that true?
Well, think about it. Think about how many sides there are to a tooth and which sides are touched by other teeth, right? Your brush only gets to the top, the cheek side and the tongue side. Yeah. And then you got two sides in between. So, yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. So when you think about it, right?
I know. It was very effective in sharing that detail.
He'll be happy to know that.
Oh, yeah. So I'm sharing it with all of our listeners, and maybe they'll floss today.
Yeah, when I have to change my tune on, okay, that's good. I guess, it's all how you're driven, and you obviously, statistics drives you.
I do like data. Yeah. I like facts.
Yeah. So, yeah. And we, as a profession, tend to dwell on the negative facts. We love, if we'll talk about 1/3 of these teeth will, fail, but we won't talk about the fact that 2/3 of them will do okay.
That's true.
We'll dwell on that 1/3.
Yeah. So. Well, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt is really what motivates people.
Most people, yeah.
Yeah. So you got into dentistry, but only after you had gotten into cardiac something.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Your
remember. Memory is pretty good.
Yes.
So, yes, when I moved back to Florida and started working and trying to figure out what I was going to do when I grow up. So I was 18 at the time and started working in a hospital. And I actually started working as a housekeeping aide. That was my first job. I made a solid $2.26 an hour. So, think about it. You work 40 hours a week and you make $100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but, we lived great. Pitcher of beer was $3. So, you live large.
I like that you compare it to how much beer you can buy.
At 18, that was... And we could drink at 18 legally, by the way.
Okay.
So, anyway, I was exposed to some different professions that I didn't even know existed, which is, I think, a lot of, I'm going on a different tangent here now, for a lot of young people who are out there in high schools and whatnot, who have no idea what they really want to be. And, I had 3 sons, and, we send them off to college, and supposedly that's where they're going to figure out what they want to be someday. Mm-hmm. There's just so many great jobs out there that, you don't have to go to a 4-year college, and I love the fact that our high school, we have a great vocational program. Big shout out to them. Giving kids an exposure to different jobs. So anyhow, I, by accident, found out that by having to go into this cardiovascular lab, and cardiovascular lab is where, unfortunately, you go if you have heart issues. They figure out what's going on, and it turned out that I was living in Gainesville at the time. That the local community college was one of, at that time, 5 programs in the country where you could go and get that training. So I said, "Oh, that looks cool," and and I applied, got in, and then for me it took longer because I was working, and so what I did is I took all the prerequisites, at night or whenever I could sneak off, and then eventually you get to the point where you just have to follow the track. So I had to take a different job at that point in the hospital, but I always ended up working in the hospital until I graduated, and then I worked in a cardiovascular lab for a while. So, which was interesting.
Yeah.
And of course that technology, again, when I was there, it was ancient now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's changed.
It was an analog world. We actually used regular film just like you used to use in a camera.
Wow.
And we would have to run it through developers and whatnot. Now all that is digital, of course.
Wow.
Same with, I was trained in echocardiography, which is a totally different beast nowadays. So.
Yeah.
And then the cardiologist I worked for at that time just kind of pushed me to go back to school and do something else. So I ended up in dental school. So
yeah, in dental school, and then you somehow saw that there was a job opportunity here in Whitefield. Yeah.
So I, again, 1988, the internet hadn't been invented yet. So back then, the way you would find your jobs in our industry was through the Journal of American Dental Association. Mm-hmm. So the back, 10 pages would be filled with jobs all over the country.
Yeah.
And I mean, the first step is trying to figure out where do you want to go, And like I said, we decided we wanted to be someplace where it was winter. I had lived in Connecticut. I had never been to New Hampshire, never been to Vermont. And I told my wife, well, New England is kind of neat. And one of my professors had a friend in Burlington actually Essex Junction, just outside Burlington. And he was looking to basically have someone come on for like a year and buy his practice. Excuse me. And so I had met him. He told me I should come out. I met him in Chicago. And I flew out here, met him, and it really wasn't a match. And meanwhile, because my wife was smart enough to make me make other connections, I went and visited other practices. Okay. And one of the practices that I had spoken to was Roy Brewster. We were talking on the phone, and he had said, well, if you're going to come to Burlington, you should come over here and check it out. So I had seen everybody in Vermont that I was going to see, and things weren't looking good. And my wife was, well, you still have that one in the hand. I'm going, I really don't want to drive over there. It's like, it just did. At that point, I was a bit, down, and I was kind of like,
burned out from it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but, she made me call
Good.
him. So I called him, and he goes, okay, great. And we arranged the time. And so we drove over here, stayed at the Thayer's Inn that first night. And the Parker's Marketplace building was just under construction at the time.
Wow.
They hadn't quite finished it yet. I met Roy the next day and spent the day at the office with him, and ended up having dinner at his house that night. And 2 days later, he called me when we got back to Wisconsin and offered me the job. So it was extremely fortunate, and I'm still there. 37 and a half years later, And, I was fortunate enough to have him as a colleague, friend, mentor, partner, and employee. He made a good employee, too.
Did he?
Yeah. I have to tell that because he always tells everybody, I worked for him for a while.
Yeah. Was he snowboarding at the time?
So, no, we started together. Yeah, so, and that was 30 years ago. So we both kind of had this idea, like, oh, that looks like fun. And I was kind of new to skiing at the time.
Okay.
Again, I know you probably can't think back that far, but skis in that time, they were still long and skinny. And I was terrible. I just could not get better. And I was going with the kids at the time, my oldest son, ski program, and he was 8. And so he wanted to snowboard for his birthday. He said, I want to take a snowboard lesson. So for his 8th,
Roy did, or your son?
No, my son.
Okay.
So we took him for a snowboard lesson. I kept back. He hated it, and I kept doing it. And one of my other friends that you've been online with is Neil Brodeen. Mm-hmm. He was a ski patrol at Bretton Woods, and he used to patrol on a snowboard, but on a carving board, which is, I don't know whether you know anything about snowboarding. So
no.
Which is basically they're in ski boots. They're kind of narrower shape, and that he could carve that thing like crazy. But anyway. So he took me after I had my lesson, and my son said, "Forget it, I don't like this." He got back on his skis, and he spent the day with me. So I got back to the office and told Roy. So we started taking lessons together, and we, as a bonus to one another, we bought snowboards, and then he and I would go snowboarding. We actually snowboarded Remick Park one at Thanksgiving, because they were at our house for Thanksgiving, and we walked up and we were snowboarding. But yeah, we spent quite a few hours together. Yeah.
So now you ski, but he still snowboards.
Yeah, he never went back. Yeah, and I stayed on the snowboard for quite a while. But when the shaped ski came out, it really changed the way we ski. And it allowed somebody like me to get better.
Yeah.
But I'm still not good, but I'm better, and it makes it. I don't know. There was quite a few years where we just didn't have a lot of snow, and the snowboard. You're always just on one edge when you're snowboarding, and I just didn't. I don't know. It wasn't as much fun anymore. So then I tried some shaped skis, and I'm like going, wow, this is like riding my snowboard, but on skis. And so I transitioned back. Yeah. So now I ski. I still occasionally, I think about, like now, it would be fun, to grab my snowboard and go back out.
Yes, so, lots of powder out there.
Yeah. So I spend because Lakeway, they have the ski program, which is amazing.
And they go to Cannon, right?
So Lakeway goes to Bretton Woods now.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, and actually it's Tuesday. Yeah, so they used to go on Mondays, but now they go on Tuesdays. But quite a few years ago, be a chaperone. But what they did is I taught snowboarding for them. So on Mondays I would go and then I'd have a group of kids and we would snowboard. And I did that with my sons as well, because they all decided they wanted to do that. So they all can snowboard and ski now. But,
nice.
So that was a lot of fun. So
that's cool.
Doing that.
And that's not the only thing that you helped teach kids here.
No, you're talking about soccer, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes, so, back when, about 1989, 1990, somewhere in there, when Gary Boyle, Franco Rossi, Bruno Franco, they started Littleton Youth Soccer, and then Nigel Manley, myself, and then later Mark Driscoll and other people really, were instrumental in getting soccer at the high school. And then because football, unfortunately, they were suffering with not enough kids.
Yep.
So, over a few years, they kind of had both for a year or two, or tried to, and then eventually ended up being the high school soccer coach for quite a few years, and also coaching youth soccer, because my guys were pretty little at that time.
Your sons?
Yeah. So, and those were fun. And then in the spring it was baseball. And so people like Neil Stafford, who was running like Babe Ruth baseball back then, and he's like, oh, you're going to be there anyway, so you might as well have a team. So. I know nothing about baseball, or not. And he goes, "Don't worry about it. It's like little kids. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, just get them out there.
Yeah, just get them out there. I let them have fun. So, but that's how you kind of, that involvement in the community, is how you get to know people and get recognized. But because I remember, again, my sons, they go, Dad, do you know everybody? Because no matter where we went, we run into people that through some way that they knew them. And I said, yeah, well, no, not really. But I tell you, a lot of people know us. And, the good thing is if you're in trouble, they'll probably help you. But if you're doing something stupid, they will probably let me know, So they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, part of being in a small community.
Exactly. Yeah. They're all, they look back and they're like, yeah, they're really, really happy to have had the opportunity to grow up here. And I'm envious of the friends that I have who are here now, as adults that grew up here. And, I didn't have that. And I love listening to the history. We lost a couple of pretty big, important people in the last few months.
Yes, we have.
Mr. Eames and Brian Ward. And,
did you know them well?
Yeah. And Brian. So Brian coached a couple of his sons, and his daughter was in my son's class. So
wow.
Yeah, and he was always an interesting guy because he just the history. He just knew it all.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So, I was involved in youth sports.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And that helped you be integrated in the community.
For sure. I think that people see you differently, too. I mean, people see their dentist or whatever, but they just know me from other things.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're just people.
That's right.
So whether, it's your physician or, your lawyer or whatever, Gary Boyle was, prominent attorney in town and, family court judge. And, he was out there with youth soccer and organizing and things like that, and baseball as well. So,
yeah, I think that's really good when people can be known for more than just one thing.
Right. Yeah.
So when you first moved here with your wife, you just had one son at the time?
Correct.
Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Did you feel any resistance ever in those first months of, people not trusting you or welcoming you?
So, I don't know whether it was much of resistance, but it takes a while to meet people.
Yeah.
And our first year, we were lucky enough to find a house, first off, to rent up on Mount Eustis. So we were somewhat isolated because you don't really have neighbors, per se. And, both my wife and I worked. So, that was kind of where you met people initially. It was through work. And then daycare is the next place. That's kind of how you meet people. But we spend a fair amount of time just sort of driving around the weekends, let's go drive to North Conway or, to see what's over there.
Nice.
And, drive up to Canada, whatever. Make the mistake of trying to drive to Canada on a Sunday. And the guy asked, where are you going? And we were going to go to, so we're going to go to the mall at, God, what is it? I forgot the name of the town. And he goes, the stores are all closed. I'm like, what? And he goes, on Sundays they have the blue laws back there.
Oh.
So none of the stores were open. So I'm like, okay, I guess we're going back. It takes time. I had a young associate that came in with his family, and then I'm like going, although, even though he was involved in different things, it's like it takes a while to get to know people. I think in general, New Englanders are not the same as people in the Midwest or down south.
I love that you brought that up.
So, they are very forthcoming and honest, but they're not necessarily the warm fuzzies and type of thing at that time. And there were fewer people coming into the community too back then.
Right.
Now it seems like there's so many new people. I mean, you can go to one of the local restaurants at nights and you kind of go, wow, who are all these people? And so again, you kind of stick out a little bit as the new one, when people see you and then they see you repeatedly and they're like, oh, okay, I guess they're going to stay here. So and there at that time too, there were a lot of different things happening in town where again, not talking politics, but where people who moved to the area were perceived as people that wanted to change the area to be what they moved away from.
Yes.
And that obviously, that was, people resented that. People that lived here.
That's still happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And, they like going, wait a minute, why you came here because why, So, anyway, and again, this town is not the same as it was in 1988 when I moved here. Some of it is way, way better, and some of it is okay. But change is inevitable. That's just one thing that, no matter what, change will happen. So you can either go with it or, you fight it all the way, I guess. But anyhow, it took a little while to establish a group of friends.
Yeah.
We were somewhat lucky. We met a group of people that had moved. We all moved. One actually moved back here. It was at home, but and there's other couple, that moved here, and we sort of found one another.
All at the same time, in the same phase,
and had had kids about the same ages. So, which is again how a lot of people now meet. Back then, it was through your children. Now it's through mountain biking, skiing, and whatever, tennis, things like that.
Yeah.
So, but it, I think anytime you move somewhere new, there's an adjustment period, and you just have to realize that that's going to be there. You can't expect to leave someplace that you have close-knit friends and move someplace thousands of miles away and expect to start right off at that same level. It's just, I think that's unrealistic and will probably lead to some really sad times.
Yeah. I think that one of the things that is important to remember when you move to a new place is that you're moving to somewhere with history. And it's history that you are not aware of. There's a lot of history in this town.
Yep.
That I am constantly learning and understanding, okay, this is so-and-so, and they're connected with so-and-so, and this is what the story is here, and all of that.
So early on when I started working, I had a wonderful receptionist who taught me everything I know, and basically says, you don't say anything bad about anyone to anyone, because odds are they related to them. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And she goes, trust me, and it's true. There's it's amazing, how connected folks are.
Yeah.
And it's fun, but people are very blunt. They were, and again, through profession, it took people a while to, just because, well, who are you to tell me this? Go get Dr. Brewster and let him tell me. And now I'm at that stage of life where it's the other way around. And I'm like going, yeah, no, and they go, I just needed you to hear. I needed to hear you say that. And it takes time to establish that.
How does that feel now that you have that?
It's great, but it does weigh on you at times because it's like, there's a responsibility with that.
Yeah.
But it certainly is, it's humbling to know that. And people every day, they ask, well, what would you do? Well, what would you do? So, that's, you consider that with everybody. So that's an interesting phenomena. But yeah, it took a while. To get to that.
It sounds like people trust you. Like if they're asking what you would do, then they trust you.
And that's, exactly. And if you, so, and that's certainly a responsibility that you have to take,
Yeah.
But, and sometimes it's kind of like annoying. But because it's like, well, and then, they go, you better never retire. And then when are you retiring? It's like, well, you're kind of old. And then I go, wait a minute, you can't have it all both ways.
Right. What is your plan?
The plan is never to plan.
I love that.
No. Failing to plan is planning for failure.
That's
Don't
true.
You know that? That's was that John Wooden said that, right? But I don't. Oh God! In case my staff is listening to this, I have no immediate exit plans. How's that? So
really?
Yeah. No, really. Yeah. So
sounds like you love what you do.
I do most days. Just like everybody else's. We all have days where things are better. Right now, we have a fantastic team, and I enjoy the time I spend there. I have obviously a lot of friends that are as old as me and even younger than me that are fully retired, and I still like going into the office. And I've told the staff if there was a day where it's like, wow, this is really not what I want to do, then it may be time to have to really look, or physically, mentally, I'm not able to. I don't have any imminent plans anyway. So I don't see myself going much past 70. And yes, I'm 68 years old. But who knows?
Yeah.
I don't think I'll get 40 years in, but we'll see.
Huh.
I'm in my 38th year, so maybe. Who knows?
Well, it sounds like there's a big party ahead.
Well, who knows? Yeah, we'll see.
You did. You got in a ski accident last year, and I did have to bring it up because a lot of people in that situation would have allowed that moment to change your future plans and your future activities, and I see that you have gotten back out there and you're going as if nothing ever happened.
Well, I think I ski a little more carefully.
Do you?
Yeah, I think so. In the first few days out, I don't ski at the speed.
Okay.
Because the other day as I was skiing, I was thinking, if I'd gone a little slower that day, I probably would have still crashed, but I probably wouldn't have broken my leg.
Interesting.
But who knows? You just don't know. And again, and I got so many well wishes from so many people when that happened, and people felt so horrible, and I'm like going, listen, it's a broken bone. It will heal.
Yeah.
I'll be fine. It was an inconvenience for sure, not just to me, but to my family and to my staff. And other than that, I missed a ski season and didn't get to do any fat biking there for a few months. But
you were on your trainer.
Well, after they took a couple of months before they allowed me to do that. But hey, I was out on one snowshoe and my crutch.
Yes, you were. You were so persistent. It was very admirable.
It was pretty funny. Well, some people might say it was stupid, but but whatever. Again, modern medicine is great. I had done the same injury, different way, 50 years earlier. Yeah, I broke my right tib fib on a diving board in Florida when I was 15. Back then, they just stuck in a long leg cast. So I spent the summer in a long leg cast.
Oh, my goodness.
In Florida. Oh, it was horrible.
How could you even... what did you even do? Lay around for an entire summer?
Quite a bit, yeah. I did go to summer school. I ended up taking Algebra 2 that summer.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Oh, I love math. It was fun.
Do you really love math?
I do love math. I started out in college. I was doing a math major.
Wow.
Yeah. Math makes sense.
I know. It's so logical.
Exactly. There's no subjectivity to it. It's either right or it's wrong. There isn't this gray zone. Although nowadays, sorry, Lori Boswell, there's a lot of this, we're not really worried about the result. I'm like, no. The end result matters. That's it, But anyway, yeah, math is, So anyway, so that kind of broke up the summer a little bit. But yeah, that long leg cast and on crutches.
So you probably felt like you had something to compare this to, right?
Yeah. So one day when I was in the ER and they go, well, usually adults, will put a nail in there, or you can have a long leg cast with them. I said, let's go get that nail put in there right now.
Yeah.
So I had surgery right that day, so I went pretty well. So.
Yeah, it was fast. I remember.
Yeah, if you're going to break your leg, do it on I think it was a Wednesday. Yeah, it was a Wednesday, and about 10:30, and 5 o'clock, I was home with my post-op. So
Oh,
it
my
went all
word.
like boom, boom, boom. So
Crazy.
yeah.
So were you still doing dentistry when you had your cast and everything?
So I never had a cast with this
What
one.
did you have, a boot?
So, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So what they do is they kind of wrap your leg, and for the first 10 days, you don't do any weight bearing.
Yeah.
So when I went in after those 10 days, he took whatever they had on that off, and they basically, now you're in the boot, and then you slowly start weight bearing. I mean, very slowly. So yeah, I went to work like that week, started going, and I sit when I work, so
you just
so it
wheel
was-
yourself around everywhere, right?
Well, no, I was on my crutches, and I then slowly got on one crutch and a cane, and then
Nice.
But yeah, so I only think I missed like a week and a half or two. So, but it was a little slower, so moving around.
Yeah, I just think that's pretty cool that you didn't let that injury give you excuses to slow yourself down very much.
So, yeah, I don't. Again, I'm no hero here. Okay.
Okay.
But I've seen so many people. I mean, the one thing is when you get older, you have a little more life experience, and you see. And I've seen people with such horrific illnesses and things that they've had to go through, and and some. Trust me, the broken leg, it's just, those first 10 days, I don't know how many hours of Netflix I watched and whatnot, caught up on all the series. So, again, in 1973 or when I did it, none of those things existed. So that would have made it a lot easier back then.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching daytime TV, it's a Wheel of Fortune or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I'm not trying to be heroic here, but it really wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't the greatest way to spend the winter, but it's one winter out of many.
Yeah.
So I am amazed though when I see, because I love watching ski racing, and the Olympics are coming up, the winter sports. When I see these athletes who've torn their knees multiple times, and you look at somebody like Lindsey Vonn, I mean, she's got a partial knee replacement.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously wasn't skiing at anywhere near the speed, and they're throwing themselves down the mountain at 60 to 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. It's
I know.
I don't know how they do that after going through all that.
I don't either.
But anyhow, yeah, it's all good. It's biked all summer, and skiing is good. Been out
Good.
13 days so far. It's 9 days more than last year.
I love that you count. I think on Strava you put the numbers.
Yeah, that's again, if it's not on Strava, I think all of us that do it's it's there's that magic number is 100, right? Which there's no way in God's green earth, if you're working, you're going to achieve 100 days skiing.
Oh, in a season.
In a season.
Okay.
Now, there are people out, especially out west, that do that, and there's probably people here do as well. But you think about it, 100 days, that's, 3+ months of straight skiing every single day.
Yeah.
And how many of those days do we have where it's really worth going out, So, like this past weekend, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I probably would have gone. But, I said, I don't need to do that
too
anymore.
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but...
although you have gone out, last week I saw a picture of you and I'm like, man, he looks cold.
Well, last Tuesday, it was last Tuesday actually we went, and it was single digits.
Yep.
But, somebody always, again, this could be one of those marketing things. There's no such thing as bad weather. There's only bad clothes. Yeah. And that's partially true, I guess.
So you're saying if you have the right layers on that you can do it?
Yeah, and maybe you take 2 or 3 runs and you go in for a little while.
Yep.
So
pace yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But, again, my son out in Colorado is if he puts his boots on and he hits, steps on his bike, he counts that as a day of skiing.
Nice. I saw somebody yesterday trying to ski down the road.
Oh, well, this morning when I was walking the dog after snow blowing, I was over by Remy Park, and I was going, wow, yeah, you can just throw on your Nordic skis. Definitely there's, you could definitely ski the road. So
Yes.
no doubt.
Yeah, he had some trouble with his bindings, and he couldn't get it figured out, so he eventually just took his skis off and walked off.
Oh, I hate that when that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was actually thinking of Nordic ski on some of Parker today too,
there you
I don't
go.
know about Gardner's though. Well, maybe up, but definitely not down. So.
Yeah, down would be a little scary.
Yeah, a lot scary. Yeah,
Those are some sharp turns at the top.
Yeah, I'm not very good at turning those Nordic skis.
Oh, I'm not good at it on a bike. There's a part at the top, where it's super steep.
The wall is.
Is it where the wall is? When you're coming down, there's like this 90-degree turn, and like there's nothing. Like
Fine.
I'm terrified of that turn.
Steve Northrup told me the other day that it's rolling like crazy because he wrote that and he said he couldn't believe it. He was over it and he goes, "Oh my God, I was past it already." So
so he gets nervous about it too.
Yeah, because it usually kind of gets sketchy there.
Yeah,
but he was saying that it's rolling so well.
Oh man!
So,
all right, well that's good to know. Bernd, it's 11.
How did that happen?
I don't know. This always happens. But I do need to remind our listeners that you're listening to WZNC LP Bethlehem, 99.9 FM, North Country Community Radio, streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. Bound. I love that I now know the official name, the official way to pronounce your name. Thank you. For giving me a second chance.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking me again.
Yeah.
So
I think we got some different information this time. So
yeah,
but some of the same, but kind of different.
Probably isn't going to solve anybody's problems in the world. But so sorry if you spent your hour listening to this. Hopefully you're doing something like riding a bike, or it's like I don't know, snow shoveling or whatever. So
I'm sure you inspired somebody today.
Yeah, just don't have a heart attack.
Well, thank you to our listeners for being here. By listening in, you're helping keep real stories and community conversations alive. That's no small thing, and I'm so glad you're part of it. If you've got thoughts about today's episode or someone you think would be a great guest, I'd love to hear from you. Just send an email to amanda@clearviewadvantage.com. And if you want to catch up on past episodes or share one with a friend, you can find them anytime at clearviewadvantage.com/podcast. This has been North of Normal with Amanda McKeen featuring Bernd Weber.
Close.
Wait, how do you say last name?
Bernd Weber.
Bernd Weber. Did I do it?
You're all over it.
Okay. We'll see you guys next Tuesday live from 10 to noon. Until then, stay grounded, stay curious, and stay a little north of normal.
Don't forget to hit the button.